Welcome to the Integrated Technology Olympiad 2017. Let me first congratulate you for getting selected in the finale. You must be knowing that more than 6,000 students across the country participated in this competition, supported by Rotary Club of Pune Pride, College of Engineering Pune, A4 Tech Pune, and Virtual Laboratories Consortium at College of Engineering Pune. You are amongst the top 20 selected teams wherein you have completed round number 4, and that round number 4 was implementation of a project in the form of designing a concept paper. The teams which we have formed are from various geographical locations, from various departments, and in that way this is the unique competition wherein students across the country, irrespective of their background, irrespective of their location, are participating in this particular competition. Now the finale is organized on 21st January 2017 at College of Engineering Pune, and you will be participating in that finale as indicated by you. Now in this presentation I will be discussing about the expectations from the organizers, the industry experts, the academia present during the finale, and the concept paper for the project. Now the next part is to discuss with you is the assessment matrix for the project work which we have used for you to select in round 4. So what have we looked at till date? One is reviews submitted so far. Each group was given a task to submit the reviews regularly to the mentor. We have gone through all the reviews which you have submitted so far. Then you have submitted final report of the project comprising of certain things which you have implemented, like a block schematic, some details about the solution, and some simulations also which you have indicated to us. So in that we have checked what is the quality of report in terms of precise communication, because your project quality depends on how good you communicate. The second is plagiarism. In this case, we have a software through which we have scanned all your soft material which you submitted to us. And friends, believe me, it is shocking that in certain teams, the solution is simply cut and copied. We have, of course, not taken those teams, but there are certain teams where the content of copied material is very, very high. Now this is a warning for you while presenting in the finale. You have 10 days to change and present your contribution and not what is available on net. Please be aware that this is a unique competition, a national level competition, wherein our effort is a path-breaking effort in which the traditional approach of project we are going to change, and that's the reason this is very, very important. Similarly, we have checked how closely you have adhered to the standard template provided by the organizers. Then we also checked the communications and discussions on virtual space. There are groups, those who have not communicated on virtual space. There is a lack of discussion amongst the group. We also have pointed out these things while taking you in the finale. The communications with the mentors, either on WhatsApp group or through mails, is also being checked by the committee. We checked the intergroup communication, how closely you talk to each other, how good you talk to each other, and how you deliberate and decide and distribute the work which is being assigned to you. We have also checked the timelines, how nicely you have followed these timelines. Now you are already aware that whenever we have given you the task, we already very transparently declared our assessment matrix, in which quality of deliverables we had given 40% weightage, mentor ratings we have given 20% ratings, originality of the solution we have given 20% weightage, and quality of supporting artifacts we have given 20% weightage. Now the team selected, it's really a wonderful thing that this is a neck-to-neck competition. But while rating you, there are certain teams where originality of the solution is lacking. So naturally, these teams now must change their approach and make sure that they present more about their contribution and the solution which they have devised. Now, what is important here is the quality of supporting artifacts. In most of the cases, we have found that the quality of supporting artifacts is like a literature survey. The amount of research done for delivering the solution is all right, which we accept and which is accepted by the committee also. But the quality and quantity of data gathered for required analysis, the next step is very, very crucial. Once you analyze the data, how have you used this analysis for further improvement of your solution? Now this is where we want to check once again. Now, as we have indicated you that we expect you to submit two presentations. One is for 20 minutes and one is for 5 minutes. Let me explain you why do we need these two presentations. The format of the competition indicates that on 21st of Jan, in the first half, we will go through all the presentations as far as the quality of solution is concerned. There would be a committee of experts assessing your project. Out of these projects, we are going to select 6 for finale. Now these 6 may not get a chance to present because the time gap between the declaration of result and the presentation will not be there. So 5-minute presentation must be ready with you, and this 5 minutes presentation is in main auditorium of College of Engineering Pune in front of all the invited industries and academicians and in front of the chief guest also. And that's the reason we have asked you for 2 presentations. Now I will explain you how we expect you to perform at the time of presentation. Now you need to know actually what is the objective of this presentation. The objective of this presentation is not to come in first 6, but to impress upon the committee of experts that yours is the best project which can be implemented easily. And that's the reason. Your first objective is to demonstrate the work done by your team in front of these experts. The second objective is show the contribution of individual. I'm very happy to inform here that in many teams, the distribution of work amongst the discipline is being done very, very nicely. And because of that, the depth of the projects have enormously improved. And I can vouch for this that the committee members will get impressed. But you need to showcase this work contribution. Then the third objective is to convince the project manager to take up the project. Now, please keep this in mind that somebody is going to execute this project based on your idea, based on this concept paper, and you will be part of that execution team if you are in the finale, if you are being selected for that particular aspect. So you have to convince the project manager to take up the project. At the same time, you have to convince the financer to invest in this project. Please keep this in mind. No business is a charity business. And that's the reason, if the outcome of your project is up to the mark, is guaranteed by the company, then and only then somebody is going to invest in that project. At the same time, you are going to demonstrate this solution to impress the committee of experts, which is going to grade you that this is the solution which can be implemented so that they can grade you at a higher level. At the same time, you will be describing the uniqueness of the solution. Friends, let me give you my feedback. There are certain groups, they have indicated the philosophies and the approach and the solution also. But these solutions lacks in innovation and the uniqueness. Now, for in the remaining days, make sure that you will impress upon the committee about the uniqueness of your solution. At the same time, it is equally important to showcase how quickly you can complete the project. The philosophy behind this entire exercise is not only to create the concept paper, but to implement the actual project on site or in any company. The expert committee sitting in front of the desk is going to assess, can I take this project and the team as a summer intern and support them in my company to execute this project in reality. So please make sure that this is not only a documentation work, this is the basis for execution of the project. So we expect that whenever you present, keep it in mind, the objectives are very clear to you. Now the next immediate question is, then who is sitting in front of that desk as the assessors? So the idea is, when you say that there would be somebody who is going to assess your project, the first thing is an industrial expert who is interested in, can this be project taken up for execution and at what cost? So his focus would be on this. But an academician sitting as an expert committee member is interested in knowing your progress and how strong you are in fundamentals of the object which has been given to you. Your mentor would be interested in understanding how have you implemented his or her suggestions, and I'm sure mentors must have given you many suggestions, and the mentor is equally interested in knowing how good you have implemented those suggestions. The other members of the panel sitting there for assessment are interested in, is this presentation worth considering for finale? And if yes, naturally you will go in finale. The chairman of the committee is basically responsible for whether your presentation is of quality one and it is completed in timely manner. Please keep this in mind. When we have given you 20 minutes, means 20 minutes. When this presentation has to be finished in 5 minutes, means 5 minutes. You have to plan your presentation accordingly, and you can have many mock sessions. We don't mind asking you to come a day before. On 20th, you can be on the campus of COEP. We will give you facilities for mock presentations. But make sure that the time is precious. At the same time, the other members of the organizing committee and students, those who are there in your presentation, are more interested in, can this be adopted, maybe in any form, or can this be supported? Now these are the roles and responsibilities of each and every member sitting in the evaluation committee. Your primary job is to satisfy all these committee members and impress upon them that my work or my team's work is the best to be executed. Now let me explain you guidelines for the presentation, because this question was asked by many groups. This presentation is for 20 minutes, and based on the experience, there is a recommendation. But friends, please keep it in mind, it is a recommendation that you should have 12 to 13 slides to capture all the points which are covered in your work. The first slide to indicate title and names of the group members with a very, very short introduction. The second point is you will define a problem statement and detailed objectives which you have kept in front of you. Then you will explain the current scenario. Let me tell you, What I mean by current scenario. Current scenario means latest literature survey and state of art available in the world about this problem statement, and not what happened in the history. So please focus on only latest literature or work which is there in the world. Then the next thing is high-end design. The meaning of the word high-end design means only block schematics. This is the first impression that you are going to present. It's like a bird's eye view wherein you will showcase that this is how I want to implement my project. Completing that discussion, then you will go for detailed design, explaining that in 2 to 3 slides. After explaining this, then you will explain the results. Now these results are basically either in the form of a simulation results or in the form of actual implementation, if you have done something in the form of a model. But it is not mandatory that you might have actually implemented on hardware. We do not expect this at this stage, but if somebody has worked on this and if any group has got some results indicating it to the committee, it's highly appreciated. Then you will explain about the applicability of the concept, because for each project title there is a potential user who is going to adopt this project for the implementation. Then you will explain the execution plan, wherein you will indicate how do we want to complete this project in these many days. I personally expect that you should indicate your execution plan based on the time available for you in the summer, and this will be treated as summer internship. We want you to discuss amongst the group and explain the execution plan. After executing the plan, the next point which is very important is the risk analysis during the execution. Now you have to openly explain that what could be the reason this execution plan can fail, and if this plan is going to fail, I have another plan ready. This is very, very important for the execution of any project. Make sure that you have a project which is not a regular academic project. This is a professional project. The project execution would be done by professionals. Project will be supported by professionals, so you have to have a professional approach. And after that, you can conclude the project by writing some conclusions and showcase the references. Now let me explain you the evaluation criteria for the finale. And you must be aware of this. As you know, right from day one of this competition, we have kept our evaluation system as transparent as possible. So in the previous case also we explained you what was our evaluation criteria. This time also, let me explain you the evaluation criteria. The first criteria is the presentation skills and interpersonal communication of the group, which will carry 10 marks. Timeliness and punctuality. The way you are going to present the entire idea, we are going to check everything, which will have a weightage of 10 marks. Tools and technologies used are for 20 marks, but please keep this in mind. The technologies which you are using must be in an executable form. You cannot have a technology or the solution which cannot be implemented. We do not expect you to have something which cannot be implemented. So please focus on tools and technologies which you wish to use for this solution. The third thing which is very, very important, and we all have concern about it, is the originality of the idea and the innovation. There is a possibility, and I'm sure about it, that in one of or many projects, something is already being implemented, something is already being tested, something is already being showcased But now the question is, what is that which you want to implement and which is different? Now this is what exactly is called as innovation and the originality of the idea. Next is implementation feasibility. Now which is having maximum weightage. Otherwise, your idea is brilliant, but this idea cannot be implemented. So this idea is useless. So we want to give more weightage to the feasibility of the idea and the implementation of that idea, which is for 30 marks. And then based on the presentation, based on the way you presented, the way you worked, the evaluator have a perception which will be having marks for 10. So you put all these marks together, you will find that this is for 100 marks. So there would be a committee which is going to assess each and every team as a common goal, and they are going to evaluate you, and the averaging of all the teams and all the evaluators would be the basis for selection of 6 teams in the finale. Now this is the schedule for the day. I am sure you must have booked your tickets. You must have indicated us the requirement of accommodation. There is a plan for you to travel. So some of you might be coming here on 20th. We have made arrangement for the accommodation from 20th of January up to 22nd of January. Because there is a possibility that on 21st of Jan, once our program is over, you may need to talk to industry experts, or you may be interested in talking to your other friends also. So we have kept a day for you. You are free to stay back in COEP hostel. Now one common thing which I want to explain to all of you, that we have asked our students to be the host of each student on the campus. So it would be a shared accommodation. You will be staying with COEP students identified for this purpose. You may discuss with them the project which you want to implement. You may discuss with them the laboratories available in COEP vis-a-vis laboratories available in your college. We expect if you are coming on 28th, you can invest this entire day to have mock trials of your presentation. The program on 21st of Jan will start at 9 in the morning with the registration. There would be snacks available, and this registration would be done in the seminar hall of Instrumentation and Control Department of College of Engineering, Pune. Please carry your valid college ID, which is a mandatory thing which you will have to carry, because this is your proof that you are a student. Along with that, you can carry other ID proofs which are required at the time of travel and stay. From 10 onwards up to 2 p.m., this would be in true sense a grilling session for each team. We are going to form 4 different tracks, and in each track there would be certain amount of teams. Each team would be given 20 minutes for presentation, followed by question and answer session. So these 4 parallel sessions would be running in the academic complex near Boat Club of College of Engineering, Pune. You should have copy of your presentation and other requirements like software required for simulation, everything to be checked before the start of this presentation, and it is to be loaded on the computer which is there in the seminar hall. We will not allow you to use your laptops. Up to 2 p.m. the presentations would be there, and then we will break for lunch. The lunch would be arranged in academic complex, and for lunch we will give you coupons. 3 to 4 p.m. we have reserved for session with mentors and the tour to laboratories. So you can go to various laboratories, talk to other teams, because we are not going to disclose which teams are being selected for the final presentation. The main program will start at 4:30 p.m. and that main program is in the main auditorium of College of Engineering, Pune, wherein there would be presentation by top 6 teams. But each team will have 5 minutes to present only. So this presentation must be a very, very crisp presentation to impress upon the entire audience in the main auditorium that you have done a wonderful job and your project must be selected for the execution. From 5:30, the official program for this finale would start, in which the prize distribution will be there and the speeches of chief guest, guest of honor, industry experts would be there. After this program, we have high tea arranged in the main building, wherein you can discuss with your mentors, the industry experts. You can share your experiences with industry experts, with academicians, so that you will get leisure time, because the competition would have been over at that time and you will be enjoying this entire session. I believe that you have gone through this entire competition with the right spirit, and you will come out of this competition also with the right spirit. Now, let me give you some special instructions based on the experience, and your mentors must have given you some instructions also, that what is that one should have in the presentation. The first thing is, let us be very clear about this concept, that the presentation or the slide of that presentation is not to be read, it is to be explained. In the other words, your slide must be at the background and you will explain it to the audience, because audience also can read the slide. Then what is fun in you reading the slide? And that's the reason, please focus on the content of the slide. You don't have to look at the slide. That's the reason I said the first instruction, you can take it as a guideline, as presentation is not to be read, but it is to be explained. There has to be minimum content on each slide. We do not expect that you copy and paste paragraphs from various standard papers and present. This is the worst part of any presentation. The impression of your presentation would go down even if your work is very good. So please be careful about keeping minimum content on each slide. There has to be more focus on your contribution and not on what is already available. So please spend maximum time on explaining your contribution and not something which is available. The presentation must reflect teamwork and depth of the thoughts. The hard work which you have put in for last 3 to 4 months, it's a unique opportunity for you to present that hard work in front of a committee. So your body language, your voice modulation and eye contact matters a lot. The presentation should look like that you are totally involved in this entire activity. Followed by the presentation, there would be question and answer session. This question and answer session is primarily to check the originality of your thought, originality of the content, and the originality of the solution. And that's the reason this question and answer session is very, very critical, which reflects your preparation and readiness to take up the project for implementation. The concluding remarks must reflect the output of the hard work in precise words, and you should be happy to explain that this is how I wish to conclude my project or team's project. And lastly, clearly keep it in mind the objective of the presentation, which I have already explained you, and stick to those points which will clearly have an indication that whatever you planned in the beginning as a team and whatever you have done at the end is matching totally, which indicates that you have governed the progress and the timeline of this project. Let me wish you all the best. We are going to upload this presentation on the YouTube. You can ask questions through YouTube also. The only criteria is you should log in your Gmail while your YouTube is on. So you can write comments there. If you wish to ask questions, if you want to ask for some clarifications, please do so. We are here to help you. Looking forward on the campus of COEP, all the finale students. Thank you so much.